social issues, education, religion, government, or national security. Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon Howse.
And welcome to the broadcast. On this Tuesday night, January 13th, 2025, we are all on the edge of our seats waiting to see what is going to happen with Iran. President Trump has said today, wait a minute, hangings? He gets told by a CBS reporter there's hangings coming in a few hours. And he says, if that happens, look out. And now he has said, look, you shoot these people, you kill them, look out. You hang them, look out. And people say that assets are being moved around in the region and that something's coming. We pray it is. Now you say, wait a minute, are you flip-flopping, House? Didn't you say in the 12-day war, stay out of this? America, stay out of this. Let Israel do it. Why are you changing your tune tonight? That's a great question. I'm going to address that tonight, along with Anni Cyrus and Shahram Hadian. We have a lot to cover tonight, a lot of video clips from President Trump. We're going to talk more about this group, MEK, and so many inside the MAGA, America First, conservative movement, world Republican Party, GOP, supporting this group, MEK, and going after the Shah, son, the prince. We're going to address that more tonight, get more into who is MEK. There's so much to talk about. We never know what we're going to talk about here in many regards. That's why this show is so fun, because the conversations go where they go. But you're not going to want to miss former Iranian Shahram Hadian, Anni Cyrus. This is the big story. Our network is known now all over the world, literally by Iranians, emailing Annie saying, tell Brannon and the team, thank you for keeping Iran front and center. We're one of the few networks covering this to the degree that we are. Tonight, we're going to share with you why this is so important, including the alliance between China and Iran. And apparently some guy has got a video out suggesting that folks go around now and take pictures of all your neighbors and community that have American flags posted out in front of their homes, flying in front of their homes, because you can make a lot of money with the business plan of selling that data when the revolution occurs. Well, this is more evidence, of course, why we should be very concerned about what China and Iran are up to as they are in alliance, and why, well, they're building mosques. The red-green axis, the black-green axis, whatever you want to call it, is growing in America. And, of course, this has happened because we have been apathetic as a people. And, of course, we see that. We've been foolish as a people. Not not this audience, but as a people in whole. Not all of us, not all Americans, but too much stupidity, too much foolishness, vain, useless, and futile in our thinking. Actually teaching that which is contrary to the laws and nature of God, the foundation of our republic, which is why we find ourselves today at the Supreme Court hearing arguments on whether or not there's any such thing as a definition of the sexes. Yeah, they're arguing at the Supreme Court, should a man be able to declare himself a woman, a young man declaring himself a woman and thus competing in women's sports. And when asked by one of the justices, Samuel Alito, who I love Samuel Alito so much of the time, is asked, hey, wait a minute, how do you define the sexes? Well, you're going to hear the answer tonight, which again shows you why we are where we are, the foolishness in this country that's gotten us where we now have Islam taking over our country. As you'll see in a clip tonight, they have a plan, and they're going to keep carrying it out, and they're doing it aggressively in Dallas, Texas, where we'll be joined tonight by Shahram Hadian and then Anni Cyrus. President Trump has been a first on so many things. And the president is a first on something else. I'm not sure I agree with it, that's for sure, but he's first again. I asked one of the search engines, has any sitting president ever, done the middle finger on camera? And every search engine I found said, no sitting president has ever been caught doing that. Well, President Trump just did today. I guess he got heckled at a plant in Michigan. Here we go. There's no sound. All right. Oh, there is sound. Okay, I think he just told the guy, you know what? Oh, and there he flipped him off. Okay. And then he waves. All right, I'm not approving of that. I'm just saying, there we go. That's Donald Trump, and he just makes a first. And maybe you didn't even realize that was a historical first. But when I saw it today, I thought, I bet you there's no president that's ever been on footage doing that. And all the search engines say, nope, he just made a first. All right. Well, let's hope that his attitude there is one because he is under increasing awareness of what's happening in Iran and realizes what he's going back to the White House to have a meeting with his National Security Council to deal with Iran on. So maybe that's the issue. I don't know. What we are hearing tonight, 12,000 dead. Even CBS is reporting it could be as high as 20,000. So we have a lot to do tonight. So I'm going to make it really short. Folks, if you appreciate what we're doing here, we need your support. You know how to do it. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. You also know the other way to do it is worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. All right. Bella Grace, that's Bella Grace, that's the three powerful things in the elixir. Glutathione. No, I am all messed up. The Bella Grace includes the cat's claw, the anti-inflammatory, the collagen with the peptides cut short, and the astaxanthin, which takes on the free radicals and crosses the brain-blood barrier. That's the Bella Grace elixir. Whew, boy, going off the rails there for a minute. Getting all my products messed up. There's my beautiful wife, Melissa Howse, who brought this product to us, and it has been a huge success. So many of you have a subscription, and it is a big part of our budgets because they give us a little contribution with every monthly subscription. I take it each and every day. I've already had it today. But you know what? I'm losing weight, and that's because, well, I'm cutting back on the sugar, but also I've taken the Bella Melt. The Bella Melt. All natural. Stimulates your body's natural GLP-1. Check it all out, would you? At melissahousebg.com, melissahousebg.com. Of course, the Numi. Now, that's the Numi. Good grief, Brandon. The Numi, that's the glutathione to detox your cells, okay? Some studies show it may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Drink good water. Don't drink somebody else's pharmaceuticals. Drink good water, filtered water, with all of these things filtered out. You can do it by getting a filter at worldviewwater.net. Look at all these things they filter out of the water. Worldviewwater.net, worldviewwater.net. I have one in my kitchen and on my shower. Of course, you then have I'm really messing up tonight, Logan. Then you have the Gatatana. Because I'm trying to go fast. We got a lot to get to. The Gatatana, melissahousegpa.com, melissahousegpa.com. And of course, Dolly gets half a scoop on her food every day. Worldview Talk to get your free satellite phone free with one of their very reasonable monthly plans, the solar generators, the bulletproof backpacks, and so much more. These are some of our sponsors. Please visit this page, check out all our sponsors, and support us with each purchase. With each purchase, you're supporting us, but you're also getting great products I think your family needs anyway. We can't delay. We got to get going. Joining me now from Dallas, Texas, live on the road is Shahram Hadian. Shahram, Annie and I have been covering this. We did so today at 1 o'clock Central, but I wanted to reach out to you. Obviously, you were born in Iran, and you've been following this closely. What are your thoughts? President Trump, we have some clips to play. He is getting more and more aggressive on the talk of not tolerating this slaughter of the Iranian people, much less their hanging. It did seem, though, from a CBS News clip that I have, he did not seem to know that there are scheduled hangings coming up in a few hours in Iran. What are your thoughts on all this before we go to some clips?
Well, first of all, great coverage today at 1 o'clock. My heart is beyond grieved for my birth country, the Iranian people, and the Christians. I know you guys discussed on air what percentage of those being killed or in the protests are Christians, and obviously one does not know that specific answer, but there's no doubt there are a percentage, and so this is the worst slaughter of Iranians in modern history. And yet we have seen so much silence from the Western media, from many of our church leaders, and honestly, the Trump administration's reactions have, as you said, been slow, seem to not really know exactly what's going on, the severity of it. Trump said in a speech today that he's getting, different reports. Some say the numbers are low. Some say the numbers are high. Well, all of the sources that are credible and the videos that are getting out are saying that the numbers are in the thousands. So I really, honestly believe that there is an internal struggle going on in the administration that they don't want to act. I think there are some that don't want to act, even though he is saying that help is coming. I mean, isn't that what he said today? Help is on the way.
Yeah, exactly. And yet, body bags in Iran. Let me show the pictures. I mean, I hope they're showing these pictures to the president. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Well, there was one, Logan, we had earlier. There was just, here we go. Now we're getting to more of them. Scores of body bags, but that's not even the one that we had earlier in the broadcast day that just showed scores of these body bags, Logan. So, well, there we go. Here's some more. I mean, when you look at all the footage coming out of there, you add it all up from all the different cities throughout Iran, we're definitely talking about thousands. And now we're hearing the numbers 12,000. Here's a number that shows a lot of them on the ground. Let's see here. This is not even the one we were talking about. But again, clearly we have I would think the 12,000 figure is not far off the mark. And it, again, I think it's being echoed by very credible sources like Iran International and others, correct?
Correct. And according to CBS News, Iran International had a link to CBS News claiming that number was even higher, because what we do not know is of the 10,000+ that have been arrested on top of those that have been murdered, we do not know how many have either already been killed or are about to be killed, as you said, within no due process and this sham judicial process of we're going to accuse you of being a enemy of Iran, enemy of Allah, enemy of Islam, and being executed. And one of the things that I want to bring out from my perspective, Brannon, your audience knows my background and how we fled Iran. Last Thursday night, when the blackout happened, when we got word that they've shut down the internet, cell phone, landlines, my heart sank, because evil has a pattern. We see a pattern of evil throughout history, throughout the Bible. And in 1979, when Khomeini, not the current guy Khomeini, but Khomeini, when he came back to Iran, it was February 1st of 1979. We're about to hit 47 years. By the 10th or so of February, they had taken power. One of the first things they did was they issued a media blackout. They kicked out all foreign press out of Iran, including the Associated Press. Because remember, I mean, there was no internet, there was no social media. It was basically the only legitimate eyes was foreign media. Within the first 4 months of that blackout of the new coup, the estimation is over 30,000 were murdered. And some of those were my dad's friends, who were high-ranking generals who would not leave. If you remember, my dad retired as a colonel. He had friends who were higher ranking, and they would not leave and disavow the Shah. Their loyalty was to the Shah of Iran. The prime minister, many of them, they were tried in secret, supposedly, executed in secret. Sometimes families would get bodies, sometimes they not. So when that blackout went into effect last week, my heart sank, because I saw the pattern. Oh, Lord, the pattern is repeating itself. They're going to mass murder Iranians. They're going to have these sham supposed trials, and this is going to be a body count. So I have no doubt that, unfortunately, and I wish we were wrong, right? But I have no doubt that the number is going to be in the, not just the thousands, but probably the tens of thousands before this is over.
Let's go to some footage. This is President Trump this afternoon around 3:49 Central, according to the timestamp. Here we go.
We had a wonderful speech in front of great people in Detroit, and mostly in the car business, and we're setting records in manufacturing. It's going very well. I think people appreciated what I had to say in terms of the numbers. So we're very happy about that. I'm going back to the White House now. We're going to look at the whole situation that's going on in Iran. It's really bad stuff. Minnesota is going to have to take care of itself for a little while. We have tremendous theft and fraud going on in that state because you have an incompetent governor, grossly incompetent governor, and a corrupt governor. But we'll straighten that out. But Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So, and we'll act accordingly.
And we'll act accordingly. All right. Well, again, I wish some of us were in there explaining some of this to him and keeping him up to speed, because I think his administration is split between folks that want to tell him the truth and those that want to manipulate him. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%. And none other than J.D. Vance. None other than, again, great coverage this afternoon. And but J.D. Vance, Tucker, remember I was on with you last week and you brought up that picture of Tucker Carlson all of a sudden when Trump walked into the wherever it was in the White House, and we're like, why is Tucker there? We're underestimating, and you and I have had this conversation. They're called the Groypers. The Nick Fuentes acolytes are no longer in the fringe, and they're not in the fringe within the political right, and they're not in the fringe within the Christian right. They are becoming the majority voice, anti-Semitic to the core, Jew-hating, and Sharia-loving, like Tucker Carlson. So I am very concerned about the influence of Vance. I read that Vance's chief of staff or whoever it was, William something, denied that he was advising the president to make a deal. But what the wording was, they said, well, we were just giving the president all options. Again, Brannon, we asked the question, what are we negotiating with? If these are bookers, Raisi, the butcher of Tehran. There's a reason they called this guy, the previous president who died in the helicopter crash. There's a reason they called him the butcher of Tehran, because he had butchered tens of thousands sitting on a judicial panel over them. So what are we negotiating with? What deal are we trying to make with an inhumane, barbaric, Islamic, demonic? I don't have enough adjectives to describe what is going on. And this is not the same as Gaza, who many of their people were on board with what Hamas was doing. This is completely different. The Iranian people, most Christians maybe don't understand this. The Iranian people are not the Iranian government. They are 100% different. And for those that are concerned about, oh my gosh, we're going to start another war, and we don't want the United States to interfere in the next leader, because the people have spoken loudly, Brannon, but we want them to act accordingly to any measure, whether it's militarily, whether it's PSYOP, whether it's cyber, and or all of the above. But I don't want boots in the ground, but I think the U.S. can do a lot. And then also what we don't know is, again, what limitations is the United States putting on potentially Israeli assets that are inside Iran that could act, but maybe are not acting. That's also what we don't know.
And here's why I mentioned, Shahram, that I wish someone like yourself and Annie and others could consult President Trump and brief him several times a day. Because here is a CBS reporter. This kind of reminds me of on the tarmac when the press had to tell him that rockets were being shot at Putin's helicopter. Remember that?
Right.
And he didn't know that. And there was something else that happened. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I feel bad for President Trump. I'm not blaming President Trump. I feel bad for President Trump. The man's got a lot on his shoulders and the weight of the world, no doubt about it. And I feel bad that sometimes I feel like he's playing catch up. And here's another example where the media, CBS, has to tell him about those that are scheduled to be hung in the next few hours. I don't want to see my president getting briefed by CBS. Okay, I want him to say, yes, I'm very aware of this, not, oh, wait. And I think he's not being well served by a lot of the advisors around him. Listen, here we go.
Now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define that in Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah, and again, that's where I don't want to see our president being briefed by CBS News, right?
Agreed 100%. If I was President Trump, I'd be ticked. I'd go back to the White House, get on the phone with Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, and
well, she was on the trip with him. Okay, I just saw a video of her getting off of Marine One onto the tarmac while he was being interviewed. So all he'd have to do is turn to her and say, "Why am I getting these briefings from CBS News in an interview? Why didn't I know that before I went into this interview? What are you guys not telling me?"
Exactly right. What are you not telling me? And this is why I'm saying that, this aspect of J.D. Vance, look, the president was betrayed by Mike Pence and the vice president's office. It seems to be that the deep state uses the vice president's office to do the sabotaging. So is that happening again? And in this case, in regards to the nation of Iran, because this isn't, and just again, for your audience, and you guys covered this so well this afternoon, for your audience, this isn't just about the country of Iran. This is going to affect the entire Middle East, and this is going to affect Israel, and this is going to affect the world, because a free Iran, a secularly governed Iran, an Islamic free Iran, all of a sudden upends the control of the Arab Muslims on the Middle East, upends support for Israel, because where Trump is beholden to maybe the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emirates, and so forth regarding, let's say, not allowing Israel to annex Judea and Samaria, or keep the areas of Gaza that they have taken over as the so-called, transitional zone. I believe an Iranian regime or an Iranian leader like Reza Pahlavi would come in and say, we are 100% behind Israel. We are 100% behind their sovereignty, just as we are fighting for our sovereignty. So, and I said this before, an Islamic free Iran, or free Iran is an Islamic free Iran, an Islamic free Iran is now a threat to the hold of the Arab Muslims and all the money they're pouring in. So, what's the influence of the Qataris on Newsmax? What's the influence of this money on Fox News? What is the influence of obviously we know Tucker Carlson, and so we are under a propaganda information war from these Islamic nations, and they do not want to free Iran. They do not want to free Iran. Trump is going to have to go on his instinct, on his gut, and on that righteous bone in him, where he doesn't like to be bullied. He doesn't like bullies, and he's got to see this as what can we do to absolutely decimate this regime without having boots on the ground.
Listen to this. CBS News is reporting, here we go, over 12,000 feared dead after Iran protest, as video shows bodies lined up at morgue. But down here, it says 2 sources, including one inside Iran, told CBS News on Tuesday that at least 12,000 and possibly as many as 20,000 people have been killed. Yet where are the folks that were screaming about Gaza? Where are the people screaming about ICE? You know, the ICE officers, police brutality. Where are those people today, right? Nothing about what is happening at the hands of the regime to the Iranian people. Again, we have to keep reminding people, Iran was not a Muslim country. It was not dominated by Islam. Islam took it over. And even the Shah was not interested in a theocracy of Islam, correct?
Correct. The Shah operated under a constitutional monarchy. So yes, he was a royal in his mind. He was carrying forth the Pahlavi dynasty, but he was in fact his brutality. When people talk about the Savak, the secret police in Iran, when they talk about the brutality, Brannon, his brutality was towards the religious clerics. That's where he was brutal. He kept them at bay because in 1963, he led Iran to what was called the White Revolution. And that White Revolution was basically a Persia first revolution. Restore our Persian history, restore our Persian heritage, restore equal rights for men and women, education for all, economic prosperity. He wanted energy independence through Iran's oil. Iran is 3 or 4 in the world as far as oil reserves. So that became, in my opinion, an existential threat to the globalists, to the deep state, which is why I think that the deep state in the United States turned on him. But no, he was not governing under any theocratic rule, any religious theocratic rule. In fact, he was fighting religious theocratic rule in keeping the ilk of the likes of Khomeini at bay. So thank you for pointing that out. If this regime falls, and if Reza Pahlavi goes in and sets up the transitional plan, this will not turn into Libya. This will not turn into Syria. This will not turn into Iraq or Afghanistan. Because, as you pointed out, all of those areas were predominantly governed by Islam. Iran is not that. Iran is not. And all you got to do is look at the mosque attendance in Iran, Brannon, is in single digits, somewhere between 6 and 8%. The own government has admitted they shut down 75,000 mosques because nobody's using them. And then what are they doing? They're burning the mosques down, as Annie pointed out earlier today. So what does that tell you? They do not want theocratic rule. They do not want Islam. It's not going to go the way of Syria, where all of a sudden you had a jihadist like Jolani taking over. That's not going to happen in Iran as long as the United States doesn't back an MEK or some other group as the legitimate successor if they intervene. That's the other concern, right? One is Trump going to intervene? Are they going to do something to keep his word? And number two, Lord help us if they try to install, their, quote, opposition.
Well, what do you make, speaking of that, what do you make of all these people on the right and in the America First movement that are pushing MEK, this Marxist Islamic group that I'm told was labeled as a terrorist group at one time by our own government, correct? And so what do you make of the folks in the MAGA world? And now they're running under a different name. I'm stunned at some of the people that are trashing on the Shah's son, the Prince Pahlavi, and that are defending MEK. I wonder how many of these people are being paid.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's money. I was just about to say that, Brannon. We're thinking alike. It's money. They're being paid. Their campaign contributions, their contracts, their business dealings. If it's coming from the Arab Muslim world, then they're going to back a group like MEK, a jihadist Islamist Marxist group that, as Annie pointed out, now just tried to kill one of their supporters, tried to kill Pahlavi supporters in Los Angeles by trying to run him over with a U-Haul truck with the sign on the side saying "No Shah, no Pahlavi, no monarchy." They want Islam, and the only reason I can think of those on the right promoting them, like a Tucker Carlson, is because either they've completely fallen in love with Islam because of their Jew hatred and because of their anti-Semitism and because of their spiritual pollution, or they're being controlled by the money and the amount of money that's flowing, and therefore they're going to do what their handlers tell them to do. And once again, the Arab Muslim nations cannot tolerate Reza Pahlavi. They cannot tolerate a secular Iran because that will upend. That will upend. Let's not forget, in 1979, Iran's coup into an Islamic republic was the beginning of the movement of fundamentalism in Islam. Think about 1979. Think about Turkey was more secular. Jordan was more secular. Egypt was more secular. Many Muslim countries had a secular element to them. What happened after 1979? That was the beginning of the fundamentalist movement where Islam went to more fundamentalism. Now look at Turkey. Now look at Syria. Now look at Jordan. Now look at Egypt. Now look at Pakistan. What if Iran falling, collapsing, and going to a secular governance where Christianity could flourish? What if that led a counter movement where it's going to weaken Islam and its fundamentalist movement and push more people living in the Middle East who identify as Muslim towards more secularism and not Sharia governance? You see how much of a threat that is? You see how much of a threat that could be to the control of the Islamic world?
Yeah, indeed. Let me go to the issue of Dallas, Texas, because you're in Dallas. You're headed to Dallas. This is reportedly, according to Islam Invasion, this is, according to them, a video coming out of Dallas. Dallas will be first. We want this model to be repeated in every city. Listen to this clip, folks.
Has 4 components, which really we wish to replicate in every city, but Dallas would be our first. So we want that model to be replicated in Florida, but we have to bring in Dallas first, because that's where the fitna is coming from. Now, we have 4 components. Number 1, by the way, the property is purchased through the Islamic school with Safa. So whatever donation, whatever help we get is going towards the school. So if you're worried about, you're actually donating towards the school. Because subhanAllah, the seller are Baptist church. And they didn't want to be known that they are selling it to Muslims amongst their community. That is why we had to go as a school. And alhamdulillah, we have a school called Salahuddin Future Academy, fully functioning. We have actually 6 branches across the country. In New Jersey, in Philadelphia, Chicago, we have 2, Colorado, Maryland, Virginia. So we have locations. And the school is accredited by Cognia. Those who are in the field of education would know that's a North America accreditation body. And also by Cambridge, which is the international, top of the line in the Middle East and in the Gulf and the Far East, basically. And alhamdulillah, we do something called actually the Islamization of the curriculum. We actually have a model that called the prophetic paradigm. I already, alhamdulillah, authored 2 books. We're going to go up to 6 books in training teachers. How can you bring Allah back into the classroom? You would read in a textbook, clouds bring rain. That's a very dangerous statement. Who brings the rain?
Allah.
But children who are 4 and 5 years old, that's what they learn. So now,
well, there you go. So you're headed to Dallas to speak. They're taking over Dallas. They're buying Baptist churches. And by and large, the Baptist churches are silent. The Southern Baptist Convention, I've said it a million times, it was 1993. They had the chance to condemn Freemasonry, which at the highest levels of Freemasonry is the Shriners, who have the little red fez and hat they wear with the crescent moon and the sword of Islam, and swear that there's no God higher than Allah. So would you really expect those people and a bunch of their fat Southern Baptist fried chicken eating obese Southern pastors to stand up to Islam when so many of their deacons and those that were on the pulpit committee that hired them and gave them their little miserable jobs, do you really think they would stand up for truth when it comes to Islam, which is backed by the Shriners, which is most of the people they answer to? No, these are disgusting people by and large. They're not pastors. They're hirelings. And I don't know who I dislike more, the Islamist, the Marxist, or the hirelings. I don't know who I dislike more, the Marxist, the Islamist, or the, quote, fake Christians, the people that run around claiming to be Christians, but would be the first to turn you in to the Nazis or KGB if we were living in Germany under the, quote, German Christians who dissolved their denominations and united under the Reich bishop handpicked by Adolf Hitler. Let me tell you, my listening friends, John Loeffler, I don't know, 2007, 2008, did a whole presentation for us on the coming persecution of the West. And he said, when it comes, the people you're going to have to fear the most, or certainly way up there, are going to be the, quote, Christians, end quote. And what he meant by that are the fake Christians that will not stand up for truth. They are in a relationship with demonic, satanic entities posing as Christians with all of their, quote, white magic. And what I mean by that is black magic is dark. White magic is when you take it and you try to sanitize Satanism with Christian phrases, so-called Christian music, twisted Bible verses. The people you should be afraid of when tyranny comes will be the, quote, Christians that have never stood up for truth, never paid a price, never stood alone. Don't trust them as far as you can spit. They will turn you in. They would turn their own mother in if it would advance them in their little cliques and clubs. Agree or disagree, Shahram?
Agree. It's always, the greatest threat is always within the camp, right? And so I agree 100%. And, you mentioned the Southern Baptist Convention. Of course, we've talked about J.D. Greear, the former president, extolling that, basically Muslims worship the same God as we do. In his book, Islam Code, you have, of course, the Catholic Church on top of that is engaged with the Southern Baptist Convention and other evangelical denominations in, common word, interfaith, the spiritual deception. You have the Reform movement with the hyper-Calvinists, with the likes of James White, Justin Peters, that don't think Islam is a threat. They sat again. We've said it a million times, but James White sat in a dialogue with Yasser Qadhi, that same person that is leading the charge in the Dallas area. So Dallas is, as I'm here and I see it. I'm witnessing it. I'm actually staying in the area where my hotel is in the area where they have control over Northeast Dallas and, Plano, East Plano, Richardson, Garland, Irving, this whole entire area. And I can see how they are using Dallas as a launching pad to take over not only the state of Texas as their example, but other countries. And talking to people here in Texas, their big thing is to wake people up in Texas. They're like, hey, we're not a red state. We're actually Texas. They're actually a purple state, and they've been too comfortable for too long, thinking that they're immune, thinking that there's nothing wrong, and the enemies of our republic love that. That's what they love. So, no, you're absolutely right. The spiritual pollution in the church, the spiritual deception in the church, giving way to dark forces, that's absolutely accurate. That's absolutely what I believe the Spirit of the Lord is exposing. And, Brannon, that's why I believe that there is judgment upon our land. And one aspect of that judgment is letting our enemies gain ground. And
thankfully, they're not gaining ground right now in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Let's give you some good news. Here we have I guess this is the Broken Arrow City Council in Oklahoma. They are saying no to Islam's expansion. Here we go.
So my motion would be to deny this land use, this zoning change.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
My motion would be to deny the zoning change.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilor Pickle?
Yes.
Councilor Green?
Yes.
Councilor Ford?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parks?
No.
Mayor Wimpy?
Yes.
Just to clarify, a yes vote would be affirmative to deny the zoning change.
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's some good news. But why would these other people vote no?
Well, the list is long, right? They don't want to be deemed as an Islamophobe. They're spiritually could be compromised by thinking that a mosque is not a threat. Again, remember the words of Russell Moore, where they filed an amicus brief, again, going back to Southern Baptist Convention, right? They filed an amicus brief in favor of allowing mosques to be built, even though we know that that is the center of the Islamic movement. It is the center of Dawah, which is their movement to settle Islam. The Brotherhood talked about that the Islamic centers are their ground zero of their movement for settlement, which means takeover. That's what the Muslim Brotherhood has said. So why would be surprised that some would be against it? But yeah, praise God. I saw that for, was it Broken Arrow?
Yep. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And praise God for that. And we need more courage for other municipalities to deny that. And one of the things I'm telling people here in Texas, Brannon, is don't just rely on your state government. The state of Texas, the governor has designated the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations. But local counties, particularly Harris County here in Texas, is doing a Muslim Heritage Month. And, why? But they're doing it because of the influence of CARE. So why is a local county still working with CARE when the governor of the state has designated CARE as a foreign terrorist organization? So people have to make sure that they don't go to sleep, that it's not just at the state level, at the local level, you have to fight this. And praise God for Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and that city council and the courage they showed to deny the permit of the building of the mosque in their city.
Indeed. On the road, Shahram Hadian in Dallas tonight. Lots in the news, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you broadcasting on our network, tilministry.com, tilministry.com. And keep us posted, will you, my friend, and be safe?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on. Again, great coverage, and thank you. It's always a privilege to be on Worldview Tube, and I'm blessed. You guys are a blessing. Thank you guys for doing what you're doing, Brannon, because, again, we've said it many times, very few voices are doing it, and you're doing it, and you give us platform to do it, to tell the truth. So may the Lord bless you guys.
Same to you, my friend. God bless. Shahram Hadian checking in, tilministry.com. Again, folks, we're brought to you by you. So we give a platform to all these guys. We don't charge them, okay? We don't charge them. We give them a platform, and we want to give them a platform. So if you appreciate the platform we give them and share with them, you're, well, responsible for helping that happen. So thank you for your support through our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. And we'll be right back after this very short break.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
Joining me now is Anni Cyrus. Annie, welcome back. We're getting great feedback from our 1 o'clock broadcast. We just had on Shahram Hadian, and he was very complimentary. He texted me this afternoon immediately as we went off the air, thanking us for the incredible coverage. We got his response as a man that was born in Iran, just as you are a lady that was born in Iran. Of course, you were born as children, not as men and as a lady, but you grew up and you're here in America now, and you're fighting for liberty and freedom here as well as for your home country by birth. So let's go right to a statement that's come out by Pahlavi, the Shah's son. My compatriots, the world has not just seen and heard your voice and courage. It is now responding. By now, you have probably heard the message from the President of the United States. Help is on the way. Continue the fight as you have done so far. Do not allow this regime to create the illusion that life is normal. After all the massacres, there is a sea of blood between us and this regime. Save the names of all these criminals. They will be prosecuted for what they have done. But I also have a special message for members of the Army. You are the national military of Iran, not the military of the Islamic Republic. You have a duty to protect the lives of your compatriots. You do not have much time. Join them as soon as possible. What do you make of this, Annie, tonight? Well, again, we're still waiting to hear about a possible strike. Nothing has occurred as of yet. You think it's going to be tonight or tomorrow?
Based on the latest update, I don't think, unfortunately, our hope for tonight is gone. I did see the video that came out from Crown Prince Pahlavi, and as you know, I'm a fan of him, and he has my vote, not just as a transitional government. He has my vote for as long as he is alive, and I will tell you why in a minute. But the statement from President Trump of now, we went from if you kill protesters, if you shoot them, we shoot back. Then we went for if you don't stop the killing, we shoot back. Now, President Trump has announced that if you hang those protesters, then we shoot back.
Yeah.
So
the line keeps moving. I would agree. And I played the clip for, you can show your frustration. That's fine. I also played the clip for Shahram, and I said, I wish you and Shahram and a few others could be his counselors and keep him up to date, because I think the president is in the dark a lot of times by his own staff, which is not serving him well. And we've seen it before where he has been told by the press something is happening, and to his credit, he'll say, well, I didn't know that. And I do appreciate him saying that. I really do. When he doesn't know something, I appreciate him saying, well, I didn't know that, because it helps us understand a little bit what's going on. And here he is telling CBS, oh, wow, I didn't know about these hangings. Here's the clip. I played it earlier, but I want to play it again.
So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define that in Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where it wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them.
Wow.
With all due respect, President Trump, this isn't about you winning, okay? This isn't even about you. This is about 90 million hostages. This is about a country that America played a huge role in destroying. This is not about you winning. This isn't about Maduro. This isn't about taking one man out. This is far bigger than you. It's far bigger than a peace prize. It is far bigger than being right about things. A free Iran equals every single human on this planet Earth breathing better.
What do you say to those who are saying we should not get involved? I want to be consistent. I said on the radio today, we were like back in the 12-day war. Let's let Israel handle this. We don't want to see our government put in some puppet regime. We want the Iranian people to pick their leaders and have freedom, not someone we pick for them. But we also were concerned about boots on the ground. I still don't want to see boots on the ground. But things have changed because now we're on to 12,000 dead. Look at this. CBS News is reporting this afternoon, it came out, that there may be more than 12,000, possibly as many as 20,000 have been killed. And that doesn't count all the injured and all those who have been arrested. So things have changed. I want to be consistent as I was on radio today. Yes, with the 12-day war, we are saying let Israel handle it. Now I'm for us getting involved, not with boots on the ground, whether it's cyber attacks, whether it's coming in with a few strikes on the IRGC. I am for this now at this level because I believe we are seeing not just the CCP, but Iran furthering the chaos in our streets, funding it, as we're seeing in Minneapolis and other places. I also just played a video clip a while ago where in Dallas, they're saying that Dallas will be the first. We want this model to be repeated in every city, talking about Islam growing and dawah. So I think we have got a problem with this regime in Iran helping to fund and fuel problems in America with their growing mosque. Yep, Saudi Arabia funds a lot of them. Qatar is doing some stuff. We should be dealing with that too. But I don't want to flip-flop, as I said on radio today. Things have changed. The death of 12 to 20,000 young people, many of them, some of them, a percentage of them are Christians. We talked about the underground church today on our radio show. You told our audience today that the underground church in Iran has exploded. Many of them are still wearing their hijab. They're not out in public because they know what that will mean. They'll be dragged off to prison, beaten, tortured, hung, and they won't be there for their children. So many of them are underground churches, but Christianity is exploding in Iran. So I'm not flip-flopping. I'm saying this has changed. Now we have the wholesale slaughter of Iranians. No boots on the ground, but we should be involved. I'm hearing some former military guys who are in the MAGA world saying we shouldn't be involved at all. Well, they're entitled to their opinion just as you and I are. But I am for the military backing these people up. One reason why I'm for backing them up at this point is because we keep telling them we're going to back them up. Get out into the street. We have your back. Help is on the way. If you shoot, we're going to respond. If you hang, we're going to respond. At what point do we let these folks go out there, end up being slaughtered, and the U.S. doesn't follow through with what we're telling them? We're saying take over the institutions. Get out there, stay out there. And if we don't come to their aid, why would any group of freedom fighters in any communist or Islamic country ever trust us again that if they start the freedom movement, we'll be there to back them up? Not that we should be involved in nation building and every skirmish around the world. But when you have the wholesale slaughter of people, whether it's Nigeria or Iran, by the Islamists who are heavily involved in trying to take over our institutions in America, we should cut off the head of this snake.
Well, the simplest way.
You agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that. And here's how I'm going to very much simplify it, though it's a very complicated situation. If you go to your doctor and say, I have a headache, and he gives you a medication, let's say he gives you Advil. You take it, you go home, you're good. Next time you go to your doctor and say, I have an ear infection, do you expect him to give you Advil again or antibiotic? This is what we're facing. The circumstances have changed from 12 days war to today.
Yes.
To expect Advil again, well, you're no expert, but you're a human. You have experienced different pains, so you should know different measures are taken for different circumstances. This is not me and Brannon flip-flopping. This is me and Brannon apparently knowing more than a lot of those who have served in our military, understanding, or maybe some of them are saying don't get involved because they know a military involvement by U.S. means hijacking a completely organic revolution and trying to turn it into a color revolution. I fear that as well. I do, especially because, Brannon, I have sent you a tweet. I have sent you another tweet with a video on it. This one, I didn't get the chance to send it to you. The right has been so deeply infiltrated by MEK. At this point, I don't even know where to go with it.
And again, remind our audience who MEK is. I brought it up with Shahram a while ago.
MEK is Mujahideen Khalq, meaning the creation's jihadist. MEK, they are a Marxist Islamist terrorist group who were already in our terrorist list from 1997 to 2012, which I should stand corrected. I said 2008 on your show yesterday. My brain was fried. Then they were removed from terrorist list in 2012. Almost 6 years of lobbying by Hillary Clinton and Rudy Giuliani for them to be removed. However, as early as last Sunday, they have committed domestic terrorism in Los Angeles, California. Unfortunately, with their billions of dollars, they have bought so many so-called Republican and conservatives. Right now, they have conquered Newsmax. They have conquered OANN. They have conquered Giuliani and the network he's on. That's where we are. In less than 5 days, they have boosted the pace to where today on Newsmax, there's an article. Can I name names, Brannon?
Yeah, here's Matt Gaetz right now on One American News.
Can we just play the first 15 seconds and then I'll take over from there? Just listen to Gaetz.
I've seen some mainstream media outlets in the West say that the Shah's son, who has become a cause du jour, could return. That seems crazy to me. That seems like some sort of neocon fever dream. So walk me through like what role the MEK would have, what role.
Wait a minute. Aren't the neocons the one backing MEK? And I'm not neocon. You're not neocon. And I'm not enough of an expert on the prince or anything else to be making a lot of decisions on this. I trust you. I trust Shahram. But I'll tell you what, I don't have to know too much about MEK to say, no, I don't want those people. But to say that this is a neocon fever dream, the neocons are the one running around promoting MEK. If you are showing support of the Shah's son, I mean, when I line them up, I'm thinking, well, he sure seems like the better choice than MEK, and the people on the streets are willing to die to see this guy come to power. It's their choice. I'm just telling you what they're saying on the streets. Doesn't mean all of them are for the prince. No, but sure a lot of them are.
And that's called projection.
I don't see them on the streets begging MEK to come back, do you? I haven't heard one.
You'll never see them. And that's the thing. Okay, that's projection. And also, how quickly, because Matt Gaetz was not on their payroll. It's a recent payroll. At least teach him it's not MEK, it's MEK. So at least he sounds like a spokesperson for you. And then you go and bring Ali. This man, the man who's giggling and chuckling next to Matt Gaetz, has genuine blood of Iranians on his hand. If he ever shows up anywhere in Iran, he will last less than 35 seconds. People of Iran will literally rip him into pieces with their bare hand. And you go get him.
Why do you say that? What are you accusing him of? What do you know? I mean, you've got it documented, right? You got it documented.
Absolutely. I am not accusing him. He proven documents he was part of the last attack. So when Saddam Hussein, calm down. Okay, I apologize.
I like the riled up Annie. This is good TV, is it not, Logan?
Okay.
No,
I just don't want to be disrespectful.
Let her rip, Tater Chip. Go ahead.
Okay. When Saddam Hussein, after 8 years of Iran-Iraq war, finally America, UK, and France realized, okay, this isn't happening. We're spending trillions of dollars trying to back up Saddam Hussein to topple this regime in Iran. Let's call it peace. Saddam Hussein and Khomeini came to the table and said, okay, we're going to sign a peace treaty. When that happened, MEK, back then the leaders were Masoud Rajavi and Mariam Rajavi, which Masoud disappeared. Mariam is the only leader today. They picked up weapons, told their army, they said, now Saddam gave up, we're going to continue this war. They put together an attack. They came with, literally, the video footages are out there. They came to fight Iran, not the mullahs. In midst of just finished war, they came in. Of course, it was a disaster. Their people died. They had to retreat, go hide. However, Ali's face, who, by the way, today, Ali is the Committee for Foreign Affairs of MEK. Just so you know, he's not some low-ranking guy coming on Matt Gaetz. He's up here. His face is on the pictures. He was the general of that last attack. They killed Iranians, yes. Iranians killed more of them. However, when Saddam gave up, MEK didn't. They tried to continue an actual war. They used their access to come in. They were pushed back. As I said, it was a failure. They failed. They screamed. They cried, all of that. But these are all documented. The videos are still out there. They came at my people in form of war, military action against you. Does this guy, you're chuckling next to Matt Gaetz, who can't even say your name properly. When he gets to saying your name, Ali Musavi, he butchers the life out of it. He can't even say MEK, right? He calls it MEK. And you're sitting there chuckling when he's making things up about Reza Pahlavi?
And well, it's not going well in the feedback. Let me just, so the audience knows this, I'm not making this up. Here's the post with the interview.
I was hoping you would read those so they know I'm not the only against MEK Iranian.
What are you doing? Are you doing? Okay, are you doing? I think he means. Okay, I can't use the.
What are you doing?
Yeah, we know
what are you doing taking a represent
of this Marxist Islamic terrorist organization seriously? They have zero support inside and outside of Iran, and people hate them. I urge anyone to read about them. Don't take my word for it. This guy. MEK is a Marxist Islamic terrorist cult, openly anti-American and stained with American blood. Iranians are clear and united. In the Islamic Republic, bring back the Crown Prince, Reza Pahlavi. Respectfully, do y'all realize this would be like inviting an Antifa leader to come on your show, asking them who they think the next U.S. president should be, and then publishing that to the world without context? Do you know this person? He's look at all these, one in a row. We haven't even had one person yet agreeing with this. Do you know this person?
Well, she made our job easy. Look at him in the uniform. There you go.
He is one of the terrorists who threatened to assassinate me a while ago, deleted his Twitter after complaining, shame on you for reports. Now, I have no idea what that guy's saying and what that's about. I mean, I don't. Who is
that? Is Ali Musavi. You see him in the uniform, in the military uniform?
But I want to follow this guy. Why is this guy saying that he...
Because a lot of us who have publicly spoke against MEK way before today, for last 10 years, that is to be clear. I started talking about MEK in 2016, and many other Iranians are out there specifically talking about MEK. We received direct death threats from MEK. And that's what's related to the tweets I sent you from Giuliani today, claiming Islamic Republic of Iran has tried to kill me for trying to free the people of Iran. Well, Rudy, guess what? The people you're defending and taking money from has put death threat on people like me. So get a number and stay in line for those who are afraid of being killed by terrorists. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
Oh, there you go. Lopez.
Yes, I was going to ask you, but I didn't. I didn't want to get. I didn't know what the answer would be because I was going to say, wait a minute, where is Claire Lopez on MEK? But I was, to be honest with you, a little bit of a chicken to bring it up.
That was the thing. I mean, me and Claire, she has wrote me many messages saying, you misunderstood MEK, you should listen to all that stuff. And I respect her on her expertise on other areas.
Like Hezbollah and stuff, yeah.
But that's the thing. Do I now? When she just published an article on Newsmax. She writes for Newsmax. This one was January 13, today, at 3:28 p.m. Title is, Iranians determined to regain liberty, they may well succeed. Even the picture of the article is of Crown Prince Pahlavi. She goes on to say this is happening in Iran, all terrible things, numbers accurate. Some people are, I want to get to, and even though some Iranians are chanting for the return to Iran of Reza Pahlavi, son of the last Shah, who has not been back to Iran since he was 17, but instead made a successful business career in the United States since 1979. Others are heard to insist no to mullahs, no to Shah, and instead are calling for a democratic republic in Iran. I'm not going to even, the rest is even worse because she goes into promoting MEK under their brand new NCRI name. Now, let me read this. None of Iranians' opposition group, however, has provided a policy blueprint for a future after the Islamic Republic has fallen, except for the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Under the leadership of Maryam Rajavi, the NCRI's president-elect, Claire, have you got... The NCRI first published in 2006 a 10-point plan that calls for a pluralistic democratic republic in Iran, yada, 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 making things up where we can. I have worked with Claire myself. I have had Claire on my show. Claire has been on your show. Me and Claire have been on your show. She's been an opponent of Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran's regime. How do you go against them and then sit here and say MEK and Maryam Rajavi are great people? Claire, I thought you were one of us. I thought you always said there is no radical Islam. Islam is just one form. When it comes to Maryam Rajavi, suddenly her Islam is acceptable to you?
No, to be fair, I will invite Claire to come on the program and talk to you. You know, what's
she will gladly do it. That one I know because she has messaged me, and I will say this. I have not responded because I don't have the mental and emotional capacity to try to convince a former CIA agent with so much knowledge who speaks somewhat Farsi that she has picked the wrong side of this. But she has messaged me like, let me have me on your show, not to debate about MEK, by the way, but let's have me back on your show. She has even said, have me back on Jamie's show or Brannon's show. But point is,
I will have her on the show to talk with you about this and give everybody equal time and moderate.
Of course.
I love debates.
So do I. So do I, especially when evidence is right there. And I promise you, let me mark this. Either Todd or Claire or both added with Rudy Giuliani and Matt Gaetz, they're all going to come debate me on one fact. This is all Islamic regime propaganda, Annie. You misunderstood it all. Not that you were in Iran when they were blowing up buildings. Because I was. None of you were. And also, I have spoken personally to those who escaped MEK camps.
Well, here's a this person here. I don't know if you know Ray. Ray, now this is all under the Matt Gaetz clip. So we're still going on that. And I haven't seen one person defending Matt Gaetz yet. Not that they're maybe not in here, but man alive, the people came in there. Now, this guy is an ex-MEK child soldier, 18-year-old member. I share my extraordinary life stories and shed light on this cult's atrocities. Now, I just started following Ray. And maybe, Logan, can you get into our account and message Ray? Let's see if Ray will come on the show. I want to interview this ex-MEK member. Wow. He says, Ali used to be my basketball coach in Camp Ashraf. Now listen to this. And he writes and puts out one of his other tweets. Did you know it's mandatory for all MEK NCRI members, even those who wear suits and appear on Fox News, to attend ideological meetings daily and confess their sexual thoughts to their peers? It's called Daily Cleansing Meeting. Don't fall for their rebranding. They're a cult.
Well, let me add context to what he just said. After that attack, that last attack that I just explained, after that failed, again, the video is there. I will gladly provide the video on the next show or whenever there's a debate. The video with Masoud Rajabi, who was still in charge, came with Mariam, gathered everybody, and Masoud is a sick man. I'm not kidding. This man is sick.
Okay, so can we invite him on the program to debate you, Annie?
Masoud has disappeared. He's the leader that I said he just disappeared at some point. And his wife,
what about
Mariam,
the dude that was just on Gaetz? Will he come on and debate you?
Ali Musavi, there is no way Ali Musavi will ever show his face next to me on camera. Never.
Why do you say that?
Because MEK members know very well how much I know about him. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to kill me, would they now?
Oh, wow.
In 2016,
now remember, this was a group that was a terrorist organization, right?
Is still. They were not a terror. They are still a terrorist group. I repeat, Sunday night, they had a driver drive a U-Haul into Iranian pro-Shah protesters in LA. They never went. I agree with Ray. This cult, don't look at their rebranding. It is MEK. They go with MEK. Anybody who wants to write an article and call it NCRI, they are always MEK. They're always Mujahideen Khalq because they are a Marxist Islamist. They do believe in Quran. On my show, I don't know who's in control in your control room right now.
Logan.
But, Logan, in your email, my yesterday rundown of my show, there's a link to their website, to their newly branded website. If we put that up, you'll see that they have little cute tiny menu options, PMOI. When you click on it, it shows you the history of their existence of MEK, and you see the Quranic verses in there.
Well, let's bring that up real quick. And look what I just found real quick. I mean, this is the beauty of producing my own show and having a computer. And again, by the way, I think we're one of the few shows where the host, I'm my own producer. I mean, I'm a board operator, Logan. I'm my own producer, and I produce live on the air. I don't see any other show. I don't see Sean Hannity or any of these other guys doing this. Everything is planned, it looks like. Everything seems to be in a teleprompter. And I'm not boasting. I'm just saying, folks, this is why I like doing the show. It is freewheeling. I don't know what's going to come up because we don't do dress rehearsals. And I don't know what guests are going to say. And then I just start researching stuff. And that's why this show is so fun for me, the host. And I hope fun and entertaining as well as, above all, informative. But I think you got to be at some point a little entertaining and provocative to keep people's attention in this day and age. Not provocative for the sake of tomfoolery, but because we need to be provocative. And of course, the word provocative today has been redefined by so many. Let me go back real quick to this, Logan. This is the MEK. This is from February 2025 Congressional Research Service. Now, I just found this, okay? And I'm scrolling through it while she was talking. And then I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to say about this group? Well, it was founded in Iran in the early 1960s to oppose the government of the Shah. Okay, and I go in there a little further. Ooh.
No, wait. Hold on 1 second. The paragraph you just passed has a very important information on starting line 4. In the 1960s and 70s, the MEK in the 1960s and 70s sought to overthrow the the then U.S.-backed Shah through guerrilla attacks against the Iranian government and other targets. Some of these attacks killed U.S. military personnel stationed in Iran.
Well, there you go.
That's for when I say MEK has American blood on their hands, people are like, well, I thought they just killed the Iranians. No, they didn't. They killed Americans too. And these are the people, Giuliani, Claire Lopez, Matt Gaetz, and what's his name? I forgot his name again. The
Rudy?
No, I already said Rudy. I'm forgetting the other person's name. And some on the left. I shouldn't say just the right, but we expect left to back up terrorists. I just wanted you to know that Newsmax, OANN have officially opened the door to MEK members to be either promoted through articles or be interviewed.
Well, they should be having you on to provide the other side.
Why?
To provide the other side.
Yeah, but then their whole narrative is going to fall apart. I don't pull punches, and also, I know a little too much.
Well, why do you think we have you on? Because you don't pull punches. That's what we love about Anni Cyrus.
Thank you, but you're not on anybody's payroll. There is a huge difference.
That is very true. We're a listener-supported network. In October 97, the State Department made the first designation pursuant to Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which authorizes the Secretary of State to designate as a foreign terrorist organization any group that engages in terrorist activity that threatens U.S. national security. The State Department announced designation of 30 groups as foreign terror organizations, including MEK.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
look
that's
at
the
that.
thing.
Even the Clinton administration stood up against MEK.
Yeah, that was until Hillary was, put on their payroll. Then she became number one advocate. After Hillary was Rudy Giuliani. They targeted both parties at the same time. Rudy Giuliani, Hillary Clinton on each side. When you go and search on the biggest lobbyist to remove MEK from terrorist list, Hillary Clinton's name pops up right after that. Giuliani. There are videos, not made by me, not made by the Islamic regime, not made by AI, very old. You see the quality that they attended events for MEK and they got behind a microphone and they said, these are great people. They've been framed. Let's help them have a good life.
Notice this, 1999, the State Department also added National Council of Resistance and NCR as aliases of MEK. Isn't that what a lot of them are now using, that National Council of Resistance of Iran?
They added it. Okay. Of Iran was added at Iran. Look, now I'm calling Iran Iran. Of Iran was added after they were finally removed from the list. They added the Iran in there and an I at the end of the abbreviation. And again, I want to be clear about something. Let's say, first of all, I don't even know. Many of these talking heads have always been against color revolution and America's involvement. Haven't you been? Why is it that when it comes to Iran, suddenly you all have an opinion and you're all promoting a terrorist group for it? That's just out of curiosity. I'm asking for a friend. The second part of it is there are millions of Iranians inside Iran and outside. Logan, I'm so sorry to do this, but can you find the email for today's show? It's just at LUTF. There's a very short TikTok video clip on that. Would it be okay if we played? It's like 20-second or 25-second. There's a point in there. I mean, if it is okay.
Okay. And by the way, can we go back to the website? Let's go back to the website because you wanted to make a point about that website.
Yes, let's go to their website. The rebranded, fancy, no more jihadi logo, because their original logo was full-on jihadi Marxist, which I think we should look at MEK logo. It's like so Marxist Islamist they couldn't hide it. But if you go to their website, on their menu option, there's a
and I'm going to get there. Logan just sent it to me because he says I can't pull video clips and show the website, so I'm going to take over. So as soon as the email comes through to me, I'm going to throw it up there. There we go. Here we go. All right, we are there now. Go. Where do I go?
Okay, right there. Okay, so you see PMOI. You are already on that page. But for sake of, we didn't Photoshop this, let's go to their homepage. So click on their fancy, funny enough, they store Pahlavi logo to make their own logo. This is their homepage. Now we're going to click on PMOI. There you go. The People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran, Mujahideen MEK, PMOI. If you scroll, they give the history of where they come from, who they are, who were their founders, how they got here. But at the very bottom, you come to realize they are quoting Quran. They don't even hide their Islamic existence. They will tell you that they do follow the Quran, but they will also tell you, like American Muslim leaders, they will tell you that Islamic regime hijacked Islam. These are the peaceful Islam.
Where do they quote the Quran? I was just there we go, right there. There we go. I just did the Control F. So
read that actually. Read that they formed right there for MEK, freedom, gender, ethnics, and religious equality, human rights, and peace are merely political commitment, but ideological principles based on its view of the Quran.
Let me see how much else the Quran pops up here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 13 references to the Quran in this one document.
Yeah, but every single one of them is what your audience and my audience are very well aware. Sugarcoating, twisting, and lying about it. I mean, is there a question left? Again, Todd, I understand. Todd doesn't know anything about Islam. He still say radical, moderate, jihad. He doesn't. With Claire Lopez, how can she read this? But question is, have you read it? Or did you just believe them? Did you just believe Maryam Rajavi was this poor woman who wanted freedoms from the tyrannical Shah of Iran and then the tyrannical Khomeini, and she dedicated her life to killing other people because Quran said so? Well, there you go. Even if that's what she told you the truth. How do you support her?
Where is she at?
Who?
This
Maryam Rajavi?
Yeah.
Well, she kind of bounced between U.S. and Paris, Europe, but mainly U.S. And that's the thing. Again, how do you go from being in the terrorist list to where your main lobbying is taking place in America by Republican representatives? Like,
I sometimes wonder if there's really not a whole lot of hope for the country if there's this little discernment. I mean, the MAGA movement between the anti-Semitism and the Word of Faith, Paula White, and now MEK, every time we turn around, it seems we're talking about the conservative movement, the Republican Party, the MAGA group is being infiltrated by some group, left and right.
And that's the problem. We not me and you, but most Americans have put their trust in one party versus other, not realizing when it comes to red-green axis or furthermore black-green axis, there are no parties. They'll find, and again, a group like MEK, with how much money they have, most politicians have a price. It doesn't matter. The old days of Republicans and conservatives being committed and being patriot, those days are over.
Yep.
I had someone, by the way, I did just email you the link to the Newsmax article so you can show it that later it doesn't become that I made it up, written by Claire Lopez, and it's right there for anybody who wants to read it.
Okay, I'll go to that. But I want to go back real quick to the Gates tweet, because again, here we are, and I'm just showing you, I have not gotten to one tweet yet where people are agreeing. The next one says the MEK, an Islamist Marxist terrorist cult, just did a terror attack in LA. This is what Morning Star says. I don't know who Morning Star is, but I'm following a lot of these people because I find them kind of interesting. Shame on you for ignoring the voice of Iranians who are fighting a bloodthirsty regime while chanting Javid Shah. Shame on you. All right. There we go. Okay, this guy finally agrees. I wouldn't hire Pahlavi to run anything, let alone put him in charge of a national movement. All right, finally, they're getting someone supporting them. But we went through multiple feedback here with no one supporting him.
And
Gates.
that's the point. That's the point. If I emphasize, if if you're a conservative or a Republican, you claim democracy, you claim majority. So when Iranians, by huge number of majority, are calling for Prince Pahlavi, I'm okay with you saying you wouldn't pick him. That's all right. But for you to, again, that article is a lie. When you say some are calling for Pahlavi, some are calling for MEK, that's a lie. Except those paid by MEK outside of Iran, showing up in like handful of numbers saying MEK, you have not seen a single video coming out of Iran that you heard a single person having Maryam Rajavi's picture on their hand, or a single person saying, cry Khamenei, Maryam is coming back. Therefore, you're inserting misinformation into public knowledge, and that cannot go unchecked.
Here's
when
another
you
one.
Say that
MEK is a cult, Muslim, Maoist, with psychopath leadership. They separate kids from family in camps. Now the guy says we don't even want a fraction of power in Iran. We just fight for Allah. Khomeini said exact same thing 47 years ago. It's all these ideological cults say at the beginning. Now that's quoting, again, what's below this interview between Matt Gaetz and this MEK guy. And I noticed they've included General Flynn, J.D. Vance, and I don't know who this other dude is, USAMB, Turkey, Ambassador Tom Barrack. Okay, where's Flynn on this? Is J.D. Vance weighed in on MEK?
I've not heard J.D. Vance say anything. I have not heard General Flynn weighing in either on Prince Pahlavi or MEK. As of right now, I have not. But I hope he does. I know he knows way more than a lot of these names we just mentioned about MEK. That I know.
Now,
and
here
I
is
do
60
hope
Minutes.
He comes out and say.
Look at this from 60 Minutes. Here we go.
PMOI, or People's Mujahideen Organizations of Iran, also known as NCRI or MEK, is a radical political Marxist Islamic militant organization. Mujahideen Khalq was founded in 1965 by 6 radical Muslim students recruited by the Russian Marxist movements to overthrow the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and created an Islamic republic. They based the organization in Lebanon to give their early members military training inside Palestinian Liberation Organization camp. They returned to Iran to fight against Shah with guerrilla attacks, assassinating and terrorizing hundreds of people over a decade.
The people in this group are hiding their faces.
And by the way, I said a while ago, 60 Minutes. Obviously, up until this point, it has not been 60 Minutes. But now here's apparently 1978 60 Minutes archive. Here we go.
Because they do not want to be able to be identified by Sabak, by the people of the Shah. They are members of the Muslim movement, united in their determination to bring down the Shah. All of them are professional people or students at the university. Why are you people so against the Shah? Iran moving into the 20th century. What's wrong with
Yes, there's an outsider who comes to Iran who does definitely would not see what is going deeply within the people.
And that is?
And that is the misery, and that is injustice and lack of freedom.
Will the fighting go on until the Shah is out? Or do you think with the military government here in Iran now that you're going to have to bide your time for some months or some years?
I think the fighting will go on. And they will fight till their last drop of blood.
After the Islamic Revolution in August 1979, Masoud Rajavi, the leader of PMOI, a totalitarian ideological organization, got into power struggle with Khomeini. PMOI refused to participate in a December 1979 Iranian constitutional referendum organized by the Islamic Republican Party to ratify the constitution that the Assembly of Experts drafted. Khomeini subsequently published a fatwa banning Masoud Rajavi and PMOI members for running in the 1980 Iranian presidential election.
All right, pick it up there, Annie. Your thoughts on what we just saw.
I just sent you a single picture email so we can back this up for anybody who said, oh, this is exactly what we're saying. They have reformed out. These are black and white pictures. These are so old. There is a picture. This is from 2023 of Mariam Rajavi and her best friend.
Oh, wow.
Mahmoud
This
Abbas.
is, yeah.
There you go.
Mohammad Abbas of the PLO, who wrote his dissertation on that the Holocaust was fake, right?
Exactly. So I love doing this, like, because I know I have had my debates with Americans who think MEK has reformed because, you know, more than anything, we love redemption. I'm like, oh, did they now? So they're not inside PLO anymore?
And this was what year?
2023.
Pretty recent.
This is 23.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. They are.
And by the way,
still.
again, can I brag on our broadcast partner, Anni Cyrus, who's a broadcaster here at 3 p.m. Central, 4 Eastern every day? Where are other networks doing what you, and thus because of you, what our network's able to do? Where is this? Could you turn on any broadcast network tonight and get what we've just done?
No. You can't. I guarantee you. You can find plenty alternative conservative media who are promoting MEK. We just showed you a few clips and articles and tweets. But truth tellers, no, we're not welcome anymore. I concluded my show today, and I've said this off air and on air to you, but I did conclude my show today, again, thanking you and your leadership at World YouTube. Because I know no one else, no other network is covering this. And it's not about inviting me necessarily, but I'm sorry, I'm a very one-of-a-kind reporter.
You are.
There are very few, even Iranians, like you have them, you know, Hadian, Shahram, but again, neither one of them can read or write Farsi. Therefore, they can't translate Farsi. We sometimes talk and I help them with the Farsi part. Unfortunately for MEK and Islamic regime and Mamdani and Rashida Tlaib and Keith Ellison and everybody else, I'm a little too fluent on too many languages and I don't have a life, so I do this 24/7.
This is true. She does do this 24/7. There's the Newsmax piece. Iranians determined to regain liberty. They may well succeed. And again, there's the article by our friend Claire Lopez, who I hope will come on and debate this issue, because I do agree with Claire on a lot of stuff, and she's helped me learn a lot over the years. And I think I knew Claire before I knew you, right?
Yes, you did. Same here. I knew Claire before I knew you. We were connected through Phil Haney, but yes, we both knew her before. I met her in Canada at an event that we were all there to speak against back then, motion M103 that later became a law, anti-Islamophobia act in Canada. That's where me and Claire met. This was in 2017, almost 10 years ago. But yes, and that's the thing. Again, I have tried, and I will keep trying. That it's one thing to stay quiet. It's not the best option. If you have knowledge, you should. But it's another thing to put information out that is not accurate. That is dangerous. That is dangerous. The question is, somebody on those comments on Matt Gaetz said, are you going to bring Antifa to tell you who the next president should be? It's just not good to try to do that to Iranian people or anybody else for that matter. So everybody we just named, I appreciate whatever they've done that was good for America or Iran or anybody else. But we're at crucial times. No misinformation is allowed to get out there. Not on my watch.
Now, true or false?
And I want to, I'm sorry, one thing. I want to say this. Rudy Giuliani, I have confirmation. I want to be very clear. However, I do not have a shred of evidence, nor am I making claim that Claire is being paid by MEK. I want to be very clear on that.
We want to be fair to everybody. We're just promoting the news, putting out the news, the information, opinion, and ideas and documentation where it applies. And where we've gotten it wrong, we're happy to have those people on to clarify the record and or to debate the issue. We're not afraid of debate. We're not afraid of presenting both sides. Now, let's see here. I'm looking real quick. We are getting reports. Unconfirmed report from inside describes a brutal scene. Shops forced closed at 4 p.m. Anti-riot police controlling entire areas. Drones monitoring from above and blood still on the streets. I wouldn't be surprised if this is true. We've barely gotten any footage out of Iran in the last 48 hours. Based on reports, the death toll, the brutality of the Iranian regime may have worked again as it has during previous protests. This does not mean the protests are over or that the regime will survive. Helping government take weeks, even months. All right, now let's go to, I had one other issue I wanted to get to real quick. Let's see here. Oh, you know that Starlink, apparently large, tell me, this is coming from the Iran Observer, large quantities of Starlink have been grabbed up, right? Anyone having Starlink, you reported today, would be arrested.
Yes, they are going door to door. They are searching for satellite dish and Starlink devices. They are taking the devices and the person who owned it together. Mm-hmm. Yes, that I can confirm. I can also confirm that, unfortunately, in some of the cities, we have confirmation that the riot police is walking into hospitals and they're actually grabbing the wounded and dragging them out of hospitals into unknown locations. And they also have put out call that any emergency room or hospital who start treating wounded protesters without calling the police, they will also be arrested as, what do we call the person who helps the criminal? I'm sorry, I'm trying to
They are co-conspirators.
Yes. So now doctors, surgeons, nurses, employees of hospitals might start disappearing or being killed as well.
Now, Iran and China are partners, right?
Yes.
Now, look at what this group, this is Shadow of Ezra. They say a TikTok user in China is calling on Americans to start a civil war by building a database of homes displaying American flags, labeling those residents as the real enemy. He claims that once the war begins, the database could be sold for profit because the information would be highly valuable. He tells Americans that homes with American flags would be the best places to produce weapons from. Let's listen to this. Here we go.
If you have an American flag in front of your house, swipe away. Do not watch this video. Okay, there's about 10% Americans want the revolution. It's too early, but it's not too early to prepare for the revolution. Let me share with you a business plan to prepare for the revolution. Right now, it's 2026. If some households still have an American flag in front of their house, that means those people are supporting the American system. They are your enemy and they will be your enemy when the revolution starts. Before you eat the rich, you need more resource and weapons. Where to get all these resource and weapons? Get it from those households who got American flag in front of their house. Okay, so you guys also need to have a community set up a website and ask all your members to take picture of every household who got American flag and upload those information to your website, the address of each household. When the time comes, you guys can use this information as evidence to eat them first. Eat them, God will support you. Buddha will support you. Eat them with no regret, okay? So this is my business plan for you. When the time comes, some household, they will pay you a lot of money just to take off those information off your website.
Wow.
I have an idea to this man who did the video. I have a flag. I have a 20 feet tall flagpole, and I have a giant American flag on top and an Iranian flag underneath it. Did you know if the people you're talking to try to come to eat me, they're going to leave in a body bag because they can't take my weapon because I know how to use my weapon. I know where my weapons are. and I have cameras to spot them, at least giving me 1 minute, 10-second heads up. So are you that stupid? Or do you think those who are going to listen to your business plan for revolution actually know how to even use a weapon, let alone eat me with my own weapon? What is wrong with these people, Brannon?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
and this, the reason I play this is to remember China and Iran are in a partnership together, guys. Okay. And if you think that they aren't grabbing up information on people like us, whether from a flag in your front yard or the broadcast that we put out, I'm telling you now, any of us, and that includes you guys listening, if you're on social media of any kind, reposting this broadcast, putting out information that aligns with this broadcast, all of us are already on a list, if not by Iran, certainly by China and or their proxies. True or false, Annie?
100% true. 100%.
So
But
we either survive together or we are slaughtered together, folks.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure none of us, however, is going to pay a lot of money for our information to be removed. We're not going to do that. We're going to fight back. I mean, I am.
Oh, I'm not going to surrender to this. No way.
No. But yes, that, and again, aside the fact that I'm Iranian American, I want my fellow Americans to take note. Watch the Iranian people. What you're looking at is, it didn't start yesterday.
No, it did not. It took decades. And can I just say real quick, just so we're on the same page, we are in this predicament because we actually have such stupid people coming out of the universities, teaching at the universities, in so-called church denominations, mainline and so-called Protestant ones as well, supposedly, stupid people in the even so-called conservative denominations pushing cultural Marxism, interfaith dialogue, Muslims and Christians worship the same God. It's across the board, left and right. But we have such stupid people coming out of our universities, becoming elected officials, getting elected, becoming lawyers, becoming judges, becoming state legislators, becoming governors, becoming attorney generals, that are so dumb that they actually believe that we ought to allow men in women's sports, that this actually makes it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to be argued. And no wonder Islam is taking us over. China's getting the upper hand on us inside our country, because this is part of the Marxist agenda, cultural Marxism, to create coalitions of victims and then say, who's your oppressor, the Christians and the capitalists. But can you imagine if my grandparents came back, my great-grandparents came back and found out that they argued at the Supreme Court today whether a man should be considered a woman and be allowed in collegiate sports or high school sports? Can you imagine? They'd be going, what? Am I hearing this wrong? But that's what's going on today. And we wonder why it is that Islam and Marxism gaining a foothold in America. Listen to just a little bit of this, folks.
You're just drawing the line based on biological sex and saying that trans girls can't be on the girls' team in an age group that's prepubescent.
The record in this case does not support the notion that males lack an athletic advantage at 6 years old. That's about as early as the science goes from what's in the record. And even at that age, males have about a 5% athletic advantage over girls in most situations. Now,
all right, so just to show you that this is being argued, I have another clip I want to play for you, my friends. Let's see if I can find it in all the clips I have today, just to show you. This is how we ended up in this position. Now, here is Justice Sam Alito asking an ACO lawyer, what is a man and what is a woman? And I don't think they have a definition. Now, by the way, I think we also have Ketanji Brown on there, who was asked, what's a woman? And I think her response was, what, I'm not a biologist? Was her response? Something like that, something like that. And we wonder why we're in the mess we're in. Romans 1, nation of fools. Here we go.
Girls.
Yes, Your Honor.
If it does that, then is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court. And we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
I think here we just know that we basically know that that they've identified pursuant to their own statute, Lindsay qualifies as a birth sex male, and she's being excluded categorically from the women's teams as the statute. So we're taking the statute's definitions as we find them, and we don't dispute them.
So we don't have a definition. They say they're a guy saying they're a girl. So there you go. I think it was the case. Logan, if you can put this in a search engine, I can probably do it. I think it was the case Casey versus Planned Parenthood. Casey versus Planned Parenthood. And I think the case was based on the governor at the time, who I think was a Democrat, more of a moderate Democrat. Bob Casey, I think is his name. He was the governor of Pennsylvania. It was Casey versus Planned Parenthood. And if I remember correctly in that case, the Supreme Court had an opinion that, not all justices agreeing, that at the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of liberty. I think I wrote about that in my book in 2005. At the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own sense of meaning. Now, I don't know if that's ever been overturned or not. I got to look that up real quick. Logan, do I have that right? At the heart of liberty is the right. Yeah, here it is. Here we go. Let's see here. The notorious mystery passage. Yes. The Supreme Court's briefs are rarely noted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see. I want to just do the old Control F for the sake of time. At the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of meaning of the universe, and of the mystery of human life. Pretty good, huh, Logan? Or off the top of my head? Yeah. I don't think I ever impress him. I never impress him. But the reason I bring that up is that because we have been in this stupid category arena for a long time. I think this was back in 1997, according to this. At least that's when the article was written. This is where we're at, Annie. We don't know what a man or a woman is. We don't have a definition. Well, that's right, because the Supreme Court started laying down dumb decisions. Not all of them agreed with this, by the way. Like the idea that at the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of the meaning of the universe, and of the mystery of human life. Define your own meaning. Well, you know what? If you want to be the president of the United States tonight, just declare yourself that, Annie, and I guess they should recognize that you are your co-president.
And can I order the strike then?
I know, exactly. I mean, this is just ludicrous where we're at. And if this isn't a sign that God is giving over our country, that we actually have people that sit on the highest courts of the land and make such dumb comments, whether this one, you have the right to define your own meaning of life and the universe and blah, blah, blah. Or no, we don't have a definition for male or female. And we wonder why it is Islam is building mosques, taking over and saying, this is our plan to conquer you guys. You ignorant, postmodern, moral, relativistic Americans. spoiled. That's not obviously the
Sheltered.
people in this audience, and a big percentage of the country doesn't agree with the craziness. But there's too many of them that either agree with this or they have checked out due to apathy and passivity. And I don't know if I'm going to be around when it hits the fan, but when it does, can you imagine the crocodile tears by all of those people who didn't want to pick a side, who have splinters in their crotch from sitting on the fence? You got a clip to help this, Logan? Go for it. All right, go for it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes. Logan showed me this earlier. This is exactly what we're talking about. How dumb people become. Now, this is humor here. Stick with me. Watch this. We'll get a response from Annie on all of this. Go ahead. Here we go. Okay, what's it say? Abortion is health care. All right. He's going to our front door.
Hi, how are you? Hi. I'm with the ASPCA, and we're just going door to door in the neighborhood asking people if they'd be willing to commit to a monthly donation.
Okay, maybe.
Okay, if I told you a little bit more about where your money would go, would that make you feel better?
Yes, it probably would.
Okay, so I'm with the Animal Rights Division, or the TARDS, and we're in charge of all of the health care for the animals that we serve. So 100% of your money would go to their health care.
Okay.
Is that something you might feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay, if you could just put your name here, an email address, and then where it says regarding or RE, just put TARDS. Okay. And so our biggest healthcare dilemma this year for the TARDS is there's just too many pups. So 100% of your money would go to help with the abortions of unwanted puppies.
Wait, what?
Yeah, to abort the unwanted pups, because there's just so many young puppies. It's basically pups having pups, and they can't afford to raise their litter, and it's just a financial burden. So what we do is we help with aborting unwanted puppies.
Oh, well, no. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay, is that your black sedan out front with the bumper stickers?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you understand that abortion's health care?
Well, yes, but it's not. That bumper sticker isn't about animals.
What's it about?
It's about people.
Okay, so are you saying that a human baby in a womb is not worth as much as a pup in the womb?
No.
It's worth the same, right? So if it's
yes.
not okay to abort puppies, then it shouldn't be okay to do that to humans. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so abortion's not health care?
Well, I think no. I don't want to donate. I need to go. I need to go inside.
So would you agree then that abortion is murder?
Thanks for stopping by. You need to go,
ma'am. But before you leave, can we still count on your $19 monthly donation for the next 12 months? I guess abortion is murder.
Yeah, and folks, I think that is a real door knocker who did that to show the stupidity. And folks, you all know people in your neighborhood, your maybe sadly family, your community that are just that dumb. The woman had to go inside because she just got taken with too much truth, okay? And this is why we're being enslaved. And now I don't need to tell this to this audience. This audience knows this. They're discerning, smart people, or they wouldn't be tuning into this broadcast and staying here. But this is what we're all up against, Annie. This is what, and we're even trying to convince people that should know better not to fall for propaganda, even in the MAGA movement.
Yes, and the funny thing is that I guess no one has told these people that Islam will kill you if you abort your baby. On the Sharia, abortion is, well, punishable by death. They still get out there and say, what is it they say? Free Palestine? Without knowing that a free Palestine, which, by the way, let me repeat what you have said today and yesterday. What about free Iran? That doesn't help, right?
No.
Free Iran, not good. Free Palestine, much better.
How about I can't breathe? Where's that? I can't breathe.
Right? Police brutality.
Yeah, the guy got shot in the face the other night, and we watched him on video. drowning in his own blood and he couldn't breathe. I don't see anyone say, I can't breathe. I'm drowning on my own blood. Or say his name. Say his name. Where are all these people? Can we do this? Can we ship them to Iran? Can we round these people up? Can we expand ICE to include rounding up all the communists and Islamists and shipping them to Iran? Can we do that, please? And maybe take some of these freedom fighters and maybe actually letting some of them come in here. Some of them would probably be better citizens coming from Iran than some of these people born here. Well, I guess you proved the point. So does Hadia, and so does Shahram. But see, that's because we have brainwashed our people in America. That's why I got part 3 coming out on Brainwashed America this year. I've already filmed some of it. Why are you laughing in there, Logan? What are you laughing at, Logan? The segue? You're laughing at that? Oh, you like how I slipped a plug in there for my documentary. That's what he's laughing at. All right. Thank you, Logan.
Very smooth, very smooth. But hey, let's ship them to Gaza because Iran is a step away from freedom. We don't want them in Iran. As much as I don't want them here, I don't want them in Iran either. Let's ship them to Gaza.
Don't America my Iran. Is that what you just said? Don't America my Iran.
No, it's more like don't dumb down my Iran.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Don't America my Iran.
I got to be a little careful. Yes, and again, my fellow Americans, take note. Look at these kids. Look at them. Learn from them. I said it on my show in a way more emotional way today. But why do you think what they're suffering from will never come here? What makes you think that? Why do you think that one day your children won't have to do what they're doing on the streets today? Come on.
This continues.
Of course it will. If we don't learn, if we don't pay attention, if we don't get educated, if we don't come out of our comfort zone is very deadly, very deadly. And unfortunately, many Americans have their comfort zone and they're way too comfortable in it until they, knock at their door, which then unfortunately they don't have the preparation mentally, physically, emotionally, or in their house. They're not prepared for that knock at their door. I mean, there's a lot of tough talk going on social media. It's so much easier to be a keyboard ninja than be a real life patriot. And I will again tell you that from a 4-year-old to a 66-year-old and everyone in between, we have confirmed 12,000 killed until January 11th. Again, remember, when they say it could be up to 20,000, that's very legit.
Yes, CBS is saying it could be up to 20,000. CBS!
That's the thing, though. We don't have the numbers of last 3 days. So when you look at it, it makes sense. It could be over 20,000.
Well, now we have, in closing here, the Jerusalem Post, the world must recognize Reza Pahlavi before Iran's... How do you say it? Reza
Pahlavi.
Pahlavi. Okay, I'm never going to be able to match you. Never going to be able to match you, but I'll try. Before Iran's regime causes a mass atrocity.
Amen. I said amen to that.
International recognition of Crown Prince shifts incentives inside the country by signaling that loyalty to the current leadership is a gamble.
Amen.
Jerusalem Post. I'm tired. I bet you are.
Siavash wrote that. Yes. No wonder I'm feeling so comfortable with it.
Who is this?
Siavash Gholami. Great writer, and definitely he understands, just like I do, that now is the time to recognize Reza Pahlavi. I would say he probably has more knowledge of Pahlavi dynasty than I do. I know that title was talking to me. I'm glad he wrote that.
This episode, as the young kids in the control room would say, this segment has been fire.
Woohoo!
Right, Logan? You're laughing at that too, aren't you? Yeah.
And I will say on behalf of myself, Brannon, Howse, the young kids in the control room, and everybody at Worldview YouTube, except maybe one person, the fire you see on this episode is all inspired by the fire, bravery, and courage of all Iranians inside Iran.
Right. Yep. Now we just need to get you to be a guest on Colonel Manus's broadcast and that you guys debate it.
No, I'll be honored to be on his show. I'll look for the email or the phone call.
Yeah. I'm gonna text him and say, hey, I think you should have Annie on and just debate it. And hopefully Claire will come on, and hopefully Todd Wood will come on, and hopefully who else did we say? The dude was on with Matt Gaetz?
Ali Musavi?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't we also try? Can we do this just since this was fire? Let's have one more question. I will propose it as a question to your audience and you. Can we pull up X and go to Maryam Rajavi's X account?
If I could spell that.
M-A-R.
Okay, wait a minute. M-A-R.
Y-A-M.
Mm-hmm.
A space.
Mm-hmm.
R like Richard. A.
Did you say R like what?
Richard.
Oh, Richard. I thought you said something different.
I heard that laugh.
I thought she said something different.
Yes, no. R-A-J.
Got it.
There you go. Can we put it up? Can you zoom in a little bit? Okay, so this is the woman who has the 10-point plan. She's the strong leader. Let's scroll down through her tweet feed and let's look at specifically the comment section of every tweet she puts out. And let's see what we notice.
Okay, I'm going to have to probably open one of these up then, aren't I?
No, you don't. Just
Oh, really?
no. Go back.
Okay.
Here's the funny thing.
Oh, wait a minute. She has no comments.
Yes.
She's got all comments turned off.
What a leader.
Wow.
What a leader there is. She silences you.
Everybody's turned off. Was she afraid of, she's afraid of everybody coming on there telling the truth or what?
Amen. So again,
so the
how
same
do we
treatment
play?
Matt Gaetz was getting, she doesn't want that. At least, hey, to Matt
she's
Gaetz's
gonna get
credit, at
worse.
least he leaves his open, right?
That's what I'm trying. I figured this would be a great closing argument, pre-debate argument of how do you support a leader that can't even have the bravery to allow opposition come and talk under her posts?
Yeah.
Just
indeed.
a question.
Just a question.
And this one's for your audience, who are my friends.
Indeed.
So again, asking for a friend.
What a broadcast. What a broadcast. Incredible. liveuptofreedom.substack.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com, and of course her art store, lutfstudio.com, lutfstudio.com, and she's on each and every day at 3 p.m. Central, 4 Eastern Standard. Okay? And let's see here. What is this? Wow. Showing a U.S. passport or demonstrating connections to the United States can be a reason enough for Iran authorities to detain someone.
Yes.
Citizens are told to leave Iran. Be warned about USA passport usage. Wow.
If you have a U.S. passport, they will immediately pick you up as a spy. Because right now they have announced that the propaganda machine is those on the street who died were killed by U.S. and Israel people.
Yes, I called you this afternoon and I said, Annie, I think that even among the so-called right, there's going to be people saying that all these people were killed by America, CIA, Israel, Mossad. They did it all in order to provoke us to war. Because I'm already hearing things that sound very similar to that. And you agree, obviously.
Yes, because the regime already put that information out on their broadcast. That's the thing. They stop any communication from people to outside, but then they push their own narrative out. And this is the narrative. Because the terrorists who killed the people are Israelis and Americans, anyone arrested with an American passport will automatically be charged and convicted of spying for America and next morning hanged. So if for any reason you're in Iran with an American passport, get out. Just get out.
LiveUpToFreedom.com, LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com, LUTFstudio.com, 3 p.m. Central, 4 Eastern every day, Anni Cyrus. And here pretty much every night until this is all worked out. Anni Cyrus, thank you.
No, thank you, Brannon.
Anni Cyrus checking in. All right, guys, let's roll the music. Call it a night. You appreciate what we're doing here? That we give a platform to people like Shahram, like Annie, Usama Dakdok, Andy Woods, Patrick Woods, so many people. Well, we need your support. We don't charge these guys, okay? We give them airtime because we believe in what they're saying in their message. So help us cover the cost. It's very expensive to run this network. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. May God save America, Israel, and those wanting freedom in Iran. Take care.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
Spiritual values, moral issues, government, economy,